Hello, I am Dr. Suzanne Russ, and I'll be your professor for Psych 250 Social Psychology. I'm sitting here in my house and you can hear my dogs making a little noise in the background, and I'm sorry about that, but I think they'll stop in a moment. So this is a really interesting course. We're examining all of the personal and interpersonal factors that contribute to our social interactions. I won't go into a lot of detail here about the content of the course because I do that next week in our introductory lecture. So for now, I'm going to introduce you to the course and orient you to our course site so that you can get a really good start on the semester. So I'm going to share my screen. So you can see here that I have some materials presented for us. And let me put this into big screen view. All right, so this is our orientation for Psych 250 Social Psychology. What we'll do in this little orientation video is I'll give you an overview of our class, which I've already briefly done. I'll go over some online survival tips. You're probably getting good at this by now, but there may be some things that I can offer. I'll talk to you about setting an intention, which I've found to be helpful with some of the challenges I face, and maybe you will as well. And then we'll go over the syllabus and course navigation. So online courses can be a beast. We've all been doing this now for a couple of years. I surely miss standing in front of students and looking into your eyes and laughing and talking with you after class and all of those things that are part of a regular classroom. And from your perspective, I can think of all those times when students are just walking out of the room talking about the things in the course or joking or laughing or griping about something. And all of those things are a really important part of the social fabric of learning. And we're without that now. And now we each turn inward to get the same motivation and interest and inspiration from within ourselves. And I do have a good list of things for you inside our course site that might help you along the way with your online courses, but I'll highlight a few of them right here. So first off, it's really hard to be organized in an online course because you're not going to class each day. You're not getting those reminders about when things are due and what's coming up and what to study. So it's really important for you to keep your own calendar and to really pay attention to it. So you can set up for yourselves. I use Google Calendar and I set up reminders for myself that I try to stay focused on. And I advise you to do something similar so that you know when things are due and what you have to do and when you have to do it. And if you gain that skill in here, I'll tell you, you'll be really ahead of the game for many things in your life. So get a calendar, put due dates and firm deadlines on it. I'll talk to you about what these things mean in our class coming up. And then get into the habits of the due dates. In my class and probably in most of your classes, your professors have tried to be helpful by having consistent due dates. Like in this class, the due dates will be Friday at midnight. So you can get into the habit of that. You can get into the habit of when are you going to do your work so that you can submit it before Friday at midnight. So habits are really beneficial things when they're good habits. And then create a study plan. Figure out how much time it's taking you to read the chapter, how much time the quizzes are taking you, how you're going to best approach the content of this course. And then finally, and this might be really hard, I think it really is hard for some of our students here at Dene College, but you need to have a place to concentrate and a time to concentrate. And if you're living with your family, maybe with children or with people that you're caring for, that can be really hard. I mean, when I tuned in here, you just heard that my dogs, they weren't really bothering me, but you know, they were interfering maybe with your ability to concentrate on what I was saying. And if you have children, Oh, that is a lot. And so it really is up to you then to realize this isn't high school where you can sit in class, and probably do okay just by sitting in class. In this instance, you're really responsible for your own learning. So finding a place and time, defining it, getting a caregiver for your children if need be, or ensuring that people respect and don't interrupt you. And I sure hope you all have this place, that it's not in your car or, at your job when people are interrupting you. I hope for your sake that this isn't what it is. And as you know, Dene College has provided free room, board, tuition, books, everything to ensure that our students do in fact have a place to study, a place to learn, a way to concentrate. And if you need to look into that, then by all means look into that, because that's really important. That's respect for yourself. And then the second thing, you've probably noticed in your own academic career that the semester has a rhythm, that you're maybe kind of excited right now. You're back in school, you're ready, maybe you've been away for a while, and you feel pretty energized. And then maybe start around week 3 or 4, you start to fade. It starts to become just a little bit tiresome. You'd rather not do the studying. And maybe 2/3 of the way through the course, you're just stressed out. You're not even sure if you can finish. And it just works up and up and up until the end. And it's hard to get through that. And it's especially hard when you're an independent learner, an online learner. So taking ways to keep yourself motivated is going to be a really important part of the class. And one thing you can do is to make friends with someone in the course. Like if you post your intro and someone responds to you, you can engage that person, get their contact info, make friends, plan to study together, even if it's remote. Or likewise, if you see someone's post and you like the sound of them, get their info, get in touch. And by the way, this isn't just true of students. I think we faculty face this pattern in the semester where it gets hard for us too. So this is a common phenomenon. So one thing is to keep your long-term goals in mind. But as we're going to talk about, so your long-term goals are like, what do you hope to do? Are you really tired of working in the service industry and you really want a college degree so you can become a professional? So keeping that in mind will be helpful. And another thing is, I'm not sure how you feel about videos as a way of learning. I think they can be helpful. I have the idea that many people benefit from little clips illustrating concepts. But look up these concepts. There's so many little clips illustrating our ideas. I provide many for you. You can look up more. If it's a good way for you to learn, then use them. The challenge is make sure that you take notes, because the video clip will entertain you, you'll like it, but you'll immediately forget it if you don't write something down. And better to write it down by hand than type it. If you can imagine that, you'll recall it better. Engage with your peers. And remember, your attention is your biggest gift. Your attention is your biggest asset. And where you choose to place it is important. And so now you're working on your computer and the opportunities for distraction are immense. Just scroll through one site after another site after another site. We all have experienced this. And so you may want to take action and turn all that off. For example, when I was doing a lot of writing and publishing, I would turn off any email notifications. I still have them off. I don't get notifications for email because they would always distract me from what I was trying to concentrate on. I do get notifications for text messages, but I don't always look at them because I really need to concentrate. So you'll want to take control of your own system. Don't let that computer take your precious resource of your attention away. And finally, setting an intention. We talked a minute ago about keeping your long-term goals in mind, and that is important. That's why you're here. But setting an intention is a pretty powerful tool that you can use that relates to how you're going to approach each day. And so it's defined as a determination to act in a certain way. Sorry, my image is covering that. But when you make a determination to act in a certain way, it changes the way you feel about it. It sets a mood for your day. I'll give you two examples. One example is, let's imagine that you have a boss who makes you nervous, makes you doubt yourself. It makes you feel inadequate. And you have to meet with your boss. And you know that your anxiety rises when this happens. And so you set an intention. And your intention is to value yourself and what you have to offer. And if you can imagine both of those feelings, both the anxiety and the way that intention might make you feel, sort of an embrace for yourself and a respect for yourself, maybe you could feel your heart rate slowing down. You've just set a tone for yourself. And if you mindfully attend to that tone that you've set for yourself, you feel different. It's the same action. You're not denying the nerves or trying to push back against the nerves, but you're just setting a tone that gives you a feeling, sort of like putting on the right music to get in the mood. My second example is my own intention. For me, I'm very much of a homebody. I like to be home. I don't mind my own company. And it's really easy when nobody forces me to go out to just stay home and work. But I didn't come up here to Dene College to do that. I came up here to get to know more people and to become engaged. And so at the end of the last academic year, I set an intention for this year, and that was to become engaged. And so each day when I wake up, I think of how, in what small way can I be engaged on this day? And so then, instead of being a little bit nervous or like about being engaged, which can happen, or instead of just acquiescing and staying in my home and getting kind of lazy about going out, well, then with this calm deliberation, I go out. And another way in which I did this myself is, you know how it is when you have to do writing, how easy it is to get sidetracked on almost everything else, cleaning your desk and everything else that you might possibly do. And I used to do a similar thing by setting an intention to feel like a boss that I had, Bert Chang, who would always be sitting there mindfully, deliberately, intentionally concentrating on his work. And I could almost imagine myself feeling like he must feel. And in so doing, it was easier for me to do my own work. So just a little bit more, intentions are different from goals. I do ask you to set an intention as part of your preparedness survey, which if you had my class last year, we had this. It's much changed from this year, much shorter. But one thing I've added is that you set your intention. And so it's not a goal. It's not, I want to pass this class or pass all my classes. It's not, I want to get a 4.0 GPA. It's not, I want to make it through the semester. It's nothing like that. Goals are about achieving an outcome. They're focused on the end. But intentions are about how you're going to approach it from inside. It's about the process and setting a tone or a feeling. So as you start this semester, I'm asking each of you to set an intention. In what way are you going to feel about your work this semester? In what way are you going to approach your work? How are you going? What are your intentions toward your academic schooling each day when you wake up? What are your intentions? And someday you might fulfill your intention, and other days you might not. But nevertheless, you hold that intention, and each day you stay with it. You concentrate on it. You mindfully place yourself in that presence just for a portion of the day. So I'm inviting you to set an intention. I hope that you'll find this helpful and beneficial. And with that said, let's take a look at the course and get down to business. So I'm going to pull our course site over to us. And you can find everything you need on the site. So we're going to go through the syllabus or into the course and look at our site at the same time. So when you first come to our site, if you're on a computer, you're going to come to this announcement page. You will see new announcements, hopefully each week, because I hope that I'll respond to your reflections in a group announcement. I'll also usually respond individually. So you're going to open up here. If you're on a computer, you're going to see this side menu. I have my instructor view on right now, but your view will be very similar. And this is where you're going to start your navigation. So here's our announcements. This is where it opens. Next, you come to our syllabus, and then you'll come to assignments and lectures. So let's begin with our syllabus. So you see here, again, this is in my instructor view, because I don't want to open this up to you until I finish this video I'm making right now. So this is what our syllabus looks like. And if you want to print it, which is always a good idea, this is the printable version, but this is the basics of what's presented. You'll notice that a menu popped up on the side, and this menu will be present in most of our units this semester. If you're coming in on a weird system, like a really small screen, then all of this might be closed and you'll have to open up these side menus. So basic information is here. And let's begin with contacting the instructor. My email address is here, and I did put my personal email as well, but I much prefer to keep it with Janae College. A couple of years ago, we lost our email, so that's why I share my personal email. But I'm pretty attentive to it, and I try to respond to you fairly quickly, same day. If you send me an email and I don't respond, please send it again. If I don't respond within 24 hours, please send it again. I also, as you know, we all use our cell phones now, and here is my number. And I don't always answer my phone for the reasons I shared with you. I try and keep a little boundary around that for myself. And especially if it's an unknown number, because I feel like I get 20 calls a day that are spam, trying to sell me health insurance or something like that. I don't even know what they're doing because I don't really answer them. So you might want to make sure you text me or something if you need to call and can't email. I'll do my best with it. And then my office hours officially are going to be Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 3, and they'll be on Zoom because I think that's how most of my students will be. Here's a link to that. You'll come into a waiting room. You can come on in. You can also set up an appointment, which might be more convenient just because then you don't have to wait if someone's ahead of you. And I can also meet with you in person. I am in Saley right now, and that's lovely. We can take the necessary precautions and make it all work out. This is the textbook. You need to get it right away. It's really, you're going to be dependent on it. You should be able to get it used. You could get digital, you can rent it. The bookstore has it, and the university will cover it. Now for this next section, late work and firm deadlines. First off, assignments for each week are due on Fridays at midnight. And I will say that I do give you a little bit of wiggle room with this, but let me talk to you about why these are important. So when I have to grade a bunch of assignments that are all coming in independently and here and there, it's really a lot of work for me, because if I grade a number of them at once, my mind gets accustomed to what to look for and it goes a lot faster and I can give you better feedback. And if I have to grade it, independently, chapter 2 for this person and chapter 1 for this person, it's just a lot more work for me. So I feel respected. You are in fact respecting me when you turn your work in on time. If you submit your work on time, my promise in return to you is that I'll grade and respond to your timely submissions within 3 days of the deadline. If I can't do that, they're coming in on a Friday, like if I'm going to be gone for the weekend and it's going to be a stretch for me, I'll let you know. Those are for people who are submitting on time. If you're submitting late, it takes me that much longer, and I'm not going to promise that same turnaround time. But with that said, there's no penalty for late work as long as it's before the firm deadlines listed below. It's actually listed above. After the firm deadlines, that's done. You can't turn it in anymore because we have to just have some firm ending points. And if you do miss firm deadlines with a lot of unsubmitted work, you may need to withdraw from the course because you won't be able to pass. So I want you to put these on your calendar. The Unit A firm deadline is Friday, September 9th at midnight. So that's when everything that's due for Unit A, that's when it all closes. It's no longer available. Similar deadlines for Unit B, October 7th before midnight. Mark it on your calendar with a big red star. Unit C, Friday, October 28th before midnight. Unit D, Friday, November 18th before midnight. The remainder of time will be for working on your final project and preparing it. And that will be Wednesday, December 7th is the final deadline for project materials. So put these dates on your calendar. So what work will you be doing in this course? Well, each week you'll be reading your chapter and watching some video. And usually there's at least a little bit of me in a lecture. And there's often some additional video clips that I share with you that I think you'll find interesting. So you're going to be graded on 4 things. First, quizzes. There's going to be 1 quiz a week, 10 items, and you'll have 2 chances, and I'll take the average grade. And the nice thing is that there's feedback, so you can take your first attempt, and then you're going to get the questions, and you'll see which ones are wrong, and you'll see some feedback. And if you still don't get it, you can message me and say, hey, I really don't get this. And then I can help you, and you can do much better on your second attempt. They're due each week, but again, they won't close at that due date. And there's no penalty. They won't close until that firm deadline that I already shared with you. You will have a presentation. This will come at the end of the semester. You'll be prepping for it in Unit 3. You'll get the concepts and then all the instructions for it. And then down over the remainder of the course, you'll have time to prepare it. And this will serve as your final exam. And that's also worth 25% of your grade. Each week you'll have reflections that will consist of 2 questions that you'll write about. And these will be worth the same as these little quizzes. You'll get a letter grade. This is explained in, so you'll get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0 points on each question. And 5 corresponds with an A, 4 with a B, 3 with a C, 2 with a D, 1 or 0 with an F. And so this is how it will calculate in, but that's how you can think of it. And I do state that in the instructions for the reflection assignments. And then at the end of each unit, you'll have a test. It's just a multiple choice test, 20 items. The items are going to be taken from the quizzes and then adapted so that they're just a little different. But if you study your quiz questions, you'll do well on the tests, and those will be worth 25% as well. My pronunciations are going to be really poor here, but I love these ideas. They're beautiful. Sa'an, na'ag, ai, big A, hoshon. And the first of these is nichakes, which I know I'm not pronouncing properly. Intellect, imagination, thinking, critical thinking. And this first principle we'll use throughout the course. And so you'll be always thinking, evaluating, thinking critically, finding examples from your own life, imagining examples if you don't have personal examples. So we'll be using this quite a lot. And of course, the test questions are critical thinking as well. This nahat a, self-reliance, preparation, motivation. All of us have to use this, especially in this online course. And this is this preparation. I have my role, my responsibility to you as instructor, and I have my weaknesses as well. And I tend to get dates wrong. Sometimes I have to be very, very careful. And so I have my work to do, and you have your work to do, and your responsibilities include things like timely submission. At that midpoint in the semester when we're all starting to get a little tired. So this is what this is about, and we'll talk about this more when we get to those hard times. Ina, respect, humor, collaboration. I hope always to respect you in every interaction. In fact, sometimes I feel like I'm a little too earnest and need to introduce a little more into my interactions. But this idea of respect and open-heartedness with which we engage, in which we assume the best intentions of others, treat everybody with the respect and dignity that we deserve, that all of us deserve. And so you won't be interacting that much with your peers because I took out the discussions except for the final presentation and the introductions. So most interacting with me as you write your reflections and I respond to you, but you will be interacting with your peers when we have the presentations at the end of the semester. I have a little bit more information here about incompletes and so forth, and I think you can read that on your own time. And what I'd like to do is move into our schedule. So this is what you should pull out and mark on your calendar and always keep track of. So you can see it here. Fridays, you're going to have a quiz due on chapter 1, and that's next week. You have orientation activities this week that I'll show you, but you're going to have a quiz and you're going to have a reflection. The same for chapter 2, the same for chapter 3, but then you'll take your test. And here is that firm deadline where everything needs to come in before midnight. Next, we're going to do unit 2. I've named it Thinking and Feeling because we're going to be talking about how we think about our social roles and how we explain our own behavior in others. And then we're going to get into some really interesting concept on how this applies in the classroom. And some interesting studies there. And then emotion, that non-thinking, that hot motivation for things that we do. And the firm deadline here is October 7th. Then we get into unit 3, which is at the foundation of our project, the final presentation project, which is impacting others. And so you're going to be learning more about how people are influenced, how we change people's attitudes, how we persuade them to change, and how we influence others less directly. And this is really important topic for our project. And you'll see the requirements are the same. At the end, I expect that right here at the end of this unit, you'll submit your topic for change. And in case you're wondering a little bit about what this is, you're going to be developing a presentation that you would theoretically eventually give at a chapter meeting or to another cohort that you're seeking to be a high school classroom. And you're going to be developing this presentation about a behavior they need to change. And in your presentation, the presentation is going to be given to them directly, but you're going to talk about how you would do this presentation to approach to a regular, to an audience of the people you're interested in influencing. You'll see that our last unit is called Getting Along, and we'll start with relationships. That's interpersonal, like intimate relationships, and not necessarily romantic relationships, but those will be included. Then we'll talk about prejudice and discrimination and about groups. And so these all seem related to getting along with others in this world. And again, your firm deadline. We'll have then Thanksgiving week to prepare the presentation. You'll submit your slides Monday of the week after Thanksgiving, and you'll have until Friday to revise them and record your presentation. And then the week of finals, you will be watching your assigned presentations and responding to comments on your own presentation. So that is how the semester will go. And I'm going to jump back in and show you how you approach this course. This is not visible to you yet because I need to post this recording before I open it up to you. However, this is how it's set up. You're always going to go to assignments or lectures. And remember, you might have to expand this screen. If you're viewing on a very small screen, you're going to have to find this menu. You'll see how it's set up. Everything is here for you. And you'll see that you'll start with week 1, which is course orientation. And in this orientation, here's that menu again. You'll watch this video that I'm making at this time. You'll read the syllabus, and you'll check your preparation and you'll introduce yourself. So the syllabus is here. I've already gone over that with you. Your preparation has some advice for you and then a survey that you need to take. And then you'll go in and do your introduction according to the instructions. And so my dogs are eager for a walk, and I'm going to head out at this time and take care of them. But I'm eager to meet all of you and to work with you this term, and I wish you the best with your semester.